Hey man, you got any jumper cables?
No, I'm sorry.
I got a dead car around there.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
Can you check?
Excuse me, what do you have there?
Get in the car, let's go for a ride. So normally I carry my flashlight on the left-hand side, and I do that for some specific gun reasons. But Mike, you carry your flashlight on the right side, and I know you have some unique purposes for that. Tell me more about that.
Exactly. What I like to do is to basically err on the side of using the light in what I consider the full scope of application as far as the light. Many people, especially shooters who are so gun focused, they kind of look at it in the sense of a headlight for a gun.
Right.
There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more things you can do with it. So first of all, as far as carry, I really like carpenter's pants. So carrying it on this side gives me a purpose-designed pocket to be able to carry it here. It also allows me to hang my hand to where I can literally index right from there.
Right.
So anytime I want to draw this thing, it comes out very easily. This particular light, this is a Surefire Luma Max. This one has a reversible clip, so I can carry bezel up or bezel down. It actually functions both ways. But what it allows me to do is to get the light into my hand very discreetly, very easily. Literally, my hand just drops to that pocket. Once I've got it out, one of the most important things you can do with it, especially at night, is to look for potential causes of concern.
Right.
So having it in your right hand, I don't know that I'm going to be confronted with a lethal threat. I'm simply looking to see, are there any causes for concern? Are there things that I need to be aware of and be able to identify those threats from a distance?
Right.
The next step from there, as far as I'm concerned, is the ability to use it as a force multiplier, essentially to kind of amplify the effect of my empty hand tactics. And that's one of the things we saw in the scenario in this episode. When the attacker was approaching the person, had hidden hands, cause for concern for sure. Basically what he did was he was able to not only create a boundary, but also, go ahead and demonstrate on you,
Whoa.
take that vision.
Yeah, no kidding.
So using that light, especially when you're already dark adapted, your eyes are already, your pupils are basically wide.
Right.
Hit you with that hard light, that takes your vision away, that allows me to take the cheap shot with that kick to the groin.
Right, when you hit me with that light, there's several seconds of indecisiveness.
Exactly,
I mean,
total disorientation.
Yeah.
And that by itself may be enough to create that opportunity for escape.
Right.
Or it creates that opportunity for me to take the cheap shot. We saw it as a kick to the groin, that could easily be a kick to the knee, kick to
Right.
the shin, whatever is warranted in that situation. And then the next step from there, this is my power hand. So I'm right-handed, naturally right-handed. This is going to be a great gross motor skill as far as me being able to hit. We've looked at cycling before on the best defense, that idea
Right.
of left hand, basically index, strike, strike, being able to hit to the face, hit to the collarbones, hit whatever is handy to try to take him out of the fight, and then maybe finish that with that low line kick. Now, a lot of people are concerned with the fact that, well, if I do have the light in my right hand, then I can't draw a gun. So what I look at is simply passing it to the other hand. If I've identified a threat, I'm looking at you and all of a sudden I see, oh, this guy's got a weapon. I've got some reason to escalate to the use of a lethal weapon.
Right.
Then I simply pass it off, or if I need to, I can pitch it in his face. I can simply throw the light at him if I already know what I'm up against. If I don't need the light to illuminate him anymore to figure out what's going on, I don't need it anymore. And again, if I need to transition off, I can easily simply pass this off. And the way I like to do that, I pass it to the fingertips so that I roll to this side. So just from one hand to the other, puts it into this hand. I can still go back to that guard where I've got that defensive side. And if I need to deploy a weapon, I can easily get something out on this side and get it into play. So I like it on the right side of the body because what it allows me to do is to have all those elements working for me and erring toward the side of kind of lower level conflict. But you coming more from the firearm side, you like that on the left-hand side of the body. What's your logic?
I do for specific deployment reasons, and I can get that light into my hand as well as the firearm at the same time. I can use it for striking purposes and blocking purposes, and if I needed to use it for my power hand, I probably could. But more specifically, Mike, I like to use a one-handed flashlight technique with a gun rather than a two-handed technique.
Walk me through your logic, please.
Well, first of all, nothing against those that have developed and used two-handed techniques, but I have never been one to tie my hands together. Number one, you know, when we start to put the backs of our hands together and use a modified grip on a flashlight, that limits my hands and ties my hands together. So if I'm searching that way, my hands are tied together, and from a combative aspect, if I'm in close confines of a room and I'm searching, all of a sudden someone comes over the top, that's exactly right. I got nothing going on. So personally, when I search, I like to be able to move my flashlight in, out, up, and down. I may be searching a closet or something like that. And I need a position that I can get to quickly, because if I come around and I'm searching that position, I don't want to have to tie my hands together to shoot. I want to be able to shoot right away. Secondly, I know my ability when I'm shooting with one hand, and most people that practice routinely can shoot almost as well within 3 or 4 yards with one hand as they can with two hands, and they can probably get on target a little bit quicker. So I use what I call an eye index technique. We used to call it a neck index technique, and I modified it slightly after doing a bunch of training and realizing the fallacies of a standard neck index. And I've got a SIRT pistol here that fires a laser pistol, so safe. So what I want you to look at, Mike, here is if I'm using a standard, what a lot of guys do is a chin or a neck index technique, and let's use that particular target as an example. As soon as I illuminate, you see that shadow on the target there?
Sure, yeah.
If this were completely dark in here, that shadow would completely and totally obscure that person. So if they've got something in their hands or in their waistband or whatever else, I can't see what it is because of the shadow. The second thing, if you look at where that light is on my hand, look at my gun hand.
Yep.
In complete darkness, believe it or not, that light washing off the back of my hand actually blinds me and keeps me from seeing the sights. So doing some training in this very shoot house, I realized that if I took the flashlight and I simply slide it up, watch what happens to the shadow. The shadow disappears, and now the shadow is pretty much gone and the sights are illuminated. So I can see the target, I can see the sights, and the shadow's gone. And the side benefit of the eye index technique is when I've got that light up to my eye, if I need to transition because I hear a sound or I get shots from a different position, I can simply move my head and continue to fire. So
And that's very consistent with the guard position.
absolutely. The third thing is if I'm fighting or I go to that position because I think there's something there, and once again that punch or something happens, boom, I can parry up, I can strike from the position, and I can use all these combative techniques, obviously tied in with my flashlight.
This also allows you to move the light independently from the muzzle. You're not marrying the two together.
Absolutely. If I'm tied together and I'm searching, if that's my child, that's where that muzzle's going, everywhere that laser is. I can muzzle down and search if I think, hey, this might be my 6-year-old, that is my 6-year-old, hey, get in the corner and continue to search. So, one-handed eye index techniques, very efficient, very usable, and it allows me to tie in all of my combatives with the firearms. And as we always talk about, Mike, I like to tie the two things together so they're seamless and they're usable under stress.
The more common ground, the better off you are.
Absolutely.
Can you give me a look at what this looks like live fire?
Yeah, let's go ahead and try that. So I'm here at the live fire shoot house at the U.S. Shooting Academy, and we're going to do a real simple exercise using this one-handed eye index technique. Now keep in mind, you may not have a shoot house that you can train in, but if you wanted to work these same skills, simply get a red gun or some sort of SIRT pistol, and you can work these same skills with the light in your own home against live humans as long as you use all the safety protocols. You know, have a couple of friends, hide in the house, figure out how to clear your house, use the angles to the best of your ability, and play with it a little bit. You'll learn more by doing that than going and spending hours on a live fire range sometimes, so that's my suggestion. All right, here we go. So in a situation like this, because of my index technique, I can keep the gun back here in a retention position. If you notice how close I am to the doorway here, I wouldn't want to lead with a two-handed technique. That's too close to the edge of the door for me. So I can keep the one hand back here and I can search door jambs and I can move the light around. And notice when I'm doing this, I'm flashing the light, turn it on, turn it off. And if I alter the position and the flashing of the light, that's going to alter the shadow inside that room. So if there's someone inside that room that thinks I'm coming, they're not going to know exactly where I am versus just continuing to keep the light on in one position, okay? So I'm flashing, seeing what I can see here. Nothing so far, and as soon as I can, I want to start getting distance on this doorway. I don't want to be close to that doorway if I don't have to. Flashing, flashing, all of a sudden I see an armed threat. Hey, stop! He's down, okay? Notice how I've got this index technique. My sights are illuminated. Make sure he's down. I'm not going to turn the light off. And then I'm going to make sure and scan and assess my surroundings and area before I do anything else. Remember, always thinking about scanning and assessing and consolidating ammo, okay? Looks like he's down. Let's continue the exercise. So now I'm going to enter the room. Light goes back off. Back to my retention position. When I'm going to do this, I'm going to think about scanning with the light and moving to a new position because I don't want to be standing where I just illuminated. Scanning with the light, I see something over there, but I'm not sure what it is, and now I've got a right side angle. So if I illuminate it with my flashlight in this position, I'm going to wash that light off of that position. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to switch the position just slightly, so now I have the light on the other side of my head, so I can illuminate and I can lean out and engage. Using the same technique, the same eye index technique, but I'm putting the light on the other side of my head. Looks like he's down. Once again, I've finished my scan and assess. I'm safe. Let's continue the exercise. Let's move through this doorway. Light on, a little bit of movement, light off. Let's go ahead and work the corner of this doorway a little bit. See nothing there, okay? Additional threat. He's down, scan, maybe take this time to consolidate ammunition. Once again, one-handed eye index technique. I can grab a magazine, I can manipulate my firearm, I can do whatever I need to do because I still have these two fingers free. And that is how I would work some simple live fire exercises to engage targets, working the principle of using this one-handed eye index technique in a low light environment.